Excuse me, that was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is, Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins.
Trump went on one of his signature rants, caps lock blazing, logic nowhere in sight, thinking he'd have the final say. But Zelenskyy, he responded with precision, delivering a statement so sharp it left Trump visibly rattled. The world watched as Trump stumbled through yet another international moment, proving once again that his biggest challenge isn't foreign leaders, it's reality itself. Even some of his own supporters had to cringe. Meanwhile, Zelenskyy stood firm, showing that real leadership isn't about making noise, it's about making an impact.
The war in Ukraine, and I think it's something we have to have a quick discussion about because the president of Ukraine is in our country and he's making little nasty aspersions toward your favorite president, me. And he's no angel. It's all such a horror. Biden and Harris caused this situation by the stupidity of what they said, by every move they make. But they caused the situation and now they're locked in. They're locked in. I watched this poor guy yesterday at the United Nations. He didn't know what he was saying. They just don't know what to do. They're locked into a situation. It's sad. They just don't know what to do.
If there's one thing history has shown, it's that whenever Trump and Zelenskyy cross paths, chaos follows. Their dynamic feels less like a partnership and more like the world's most awkward buddy cop movie, except instead of solving cases, they're sidestepping scandals, exchanging skeptical glances, and making headlines for all the wrong reasons.
Dear President Trump, listen very carefully. Greenland has been part of the Danish kingdom for 800 years. It's an integrated part of our country. It is not for sale. Let me put it in words you might understand. Mr. Trump, f*** off.
If the translation was correct, the term you used is not allowed in this house, and there will be consequences to the message you have used. It is not okay in this house of democracy.
To Musk, Zuckerberg and company. In Europe, we have a market of millions of users that provide money to your companies.
And let's not forget their first major plot twist, the infamous 2019 phone call where Trump dangled military aid like a salesman pushing an unnecessary upgrade. I'll give you the funding, but first do me a favor. That call was so questionable it made Watergate look like a clerical error. The result? Impeachment numero uno. Late-night hosts had a field day and Zelenskyy was probably wishing he'd let that call go to voicemail.
With this, there is a dramatic new twist in the controversy over President Trump's contact with Ukraine. CBS News has confirmed Mr. Trump did order a hold on military aid to Ukraine just days before a phone call with the country's leader. But Mr. Trump denies putting pressure on Ukraine to investigate potential 2020 opponent Joe Biden and his son Hunter, who used to have business interest in that nation.
All this is pushing House Democrats closer than ever to supporting impeachment. Paula Reed is at the United Nations, where the president will address the General Assembly this morning. Paula, what do we know about the president's orders?
Good morning, Anthony. A senior administration official tells CBS News that President Trump ordered his acting chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney, to delay that military aid to Ukraine just days before a call with the Ukrainian president.
Fast forward to now, and these two are back in the same room, acting like none of that ever happened. The White House meeting was supposedly about Ukraine's rare earth minerals, because hey, nothing smooths over an awkward pass like a business deal, right? The plan: Ukraine provides the resources, the US gains a strategic edge, and Trump gets another chance to boast about a huge deal.
I find myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America. And for the good of the world, I'm aligned with the world. And I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that guy.
Trump has always tried to play both sides, insisting you never have a deal if you want me to say terrible things about Putin and then turn around and negotiate with him. He made it clear, I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States. And for the good of the world, I'm aligned with the world, his main concern. Zelensky's open hostility toward Putin. You see the hatred he has for Putin? That makes it very tough for me to make a deal. Classic Trump positioning himself as the ultimate deal maker while sidestepping the bigger issue.
Going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that. Remember this. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good. We're going to feel very good and very strong.
The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife, preferably one plated in gold with Trump engraved on the handle. What began as a formal diplomatic exchange had unraveled into a full-blown standoff. Trump leaned back, arms crossed, his expression a mix of disbelief and frustration, like someone had just told him Mar-a-Lago was now a public beach. He had expected compliance, maybe even a little deference. Instead, he faced a leader who wouldn't play along. The silence that followed wasn't just awkward. It was a quiet battle of wills, the kind that needed no words.
We had a meeting today, as you know, with President Zelenskyy, and I would say it didn't work out exactly great from his standpoint. I think he very much overplayed his hand. We're looking for peace. We're not looking for somebody that's going to sign up a strong power and then not make peace because they feel emboldened, and that's what I saw happening.
Meanwhile, Zelenskyy stayed focused. His country was in crisis. There was no time for ego-driven theatrics. He had come for a serious discussion, but found himself navigating a room where soothing pride seemed more urgent than diplomacy. Aides whispered, trying to diffuse the tension, but Trump was already in motion, his gestures sharp, his tone rising. He wasn't just airing grievances. He was demanding loyalty, recognition, a show of deference. Zelenskyy barely reacted. He had faced war, led through chaos, and now he was expected to entertain this. He had heard enough.
Unlike anything we've ever seen at the White House, President Trump and Ukrainian President Zelenskyy were supposed to talk about how to end Ukraine's war with Russia, but it was anything but peaceful, with President Trump essentially kicking Zelenskyy out. Now there's huge reaction all around the world.
We've never seen anything like it. A shouting match in the Oval Office.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III.
We are ready for peace, but we have to be in strong position. What does it mean? Just to know that our army is strong, that our partners with us, and that we have security guarantees. Am I not right?
Leaving the White House today, President Trump said this.
He's looking to go on and fight. He wants to come back right now, but I can't do that.
What do you make of that? Do you want to continue fighting? Do you want peace? And if he had the opportunity to go back to the White House right now, would you do it?
No, first of all, we want peace. That's why I'm in the United States. That's why I visited President Trump. And thanks for the invitation again. The deal on minerals is the first step to security guarantees.
An hour ago between President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, President Trump, and Vice President J.D. Vance. That meeting not going to plan. They were there to hopefully sign a rare earth minerals deal. That deal has not been signed, and not too long after that explosive meeting there at the Oval Office, Volodymyr Zelenskyy left the White House altogether. I want to bring in Nancy Cordes, who is live at the White House, who watched this whole thing unfold. Nancy, I want to read you a tweet by Senator Chuck Schumer. He said, Trump and Vance are doing Putin's dirty work. Senate Democrats will never stop fighting for freedom and democracy. A lot of reaction coming out of Capitol Hill today to this explosive meeting before all of this exploded.
Yeah, there wasn't any nervous energy in the room when it all started. I mean, it started out as a normal Oval Office spray, as we call it here at the White House. And then you could really start to see, as the questions went on, you could really start to feel the divide and the mood change between President Trump and President Zelenskyy when they started moving into the security question. Now, one of the questions that really changed the mood in the room was when President Trump was asked about this, or was talking about this overall economic deal and how that would provide long-term security guarantees for Ukraine. You could then see President Zelenskyy start to shift.
Zelenskyy is preparing to travel to London for a summit of European leaders on Sunday after he clashed with President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance in an extraordinary shouting match on a visit to the Oval Office. President Trump accused the Ukrainian leader of gambling with World War III and of not being grateful for the support of the US. President Zelenskyy made it clear there should be no compromises with President Putin. Following all that drama, the president of Ukraine was ordered to leave the White House, and a much-anticipated minerals deal was not signed.
House from various White House aides who say that this was President Trump and Vice President Vance standing up for America. And you know, it's Friday night in Europe. So we haven't heard that much from across the pond, but one has to imagine that this is going to be crushing to a lot of European leaders who were hoping that the fact that this minerals deal was about to be signed was an indication that perhaps there was a thawing taking place in the relationship between President Trump and President Zelenskyy.